of, all right, the first one everyone should try is you always want to do it by factoring because that's generally the easiest. All right, so in this case right here, all right, I just went ahead and reviewed factoring because again, I know how super important factoring is. All right, so let's start. We'll just do the odds. All right, does anybody remember how I'm going to factor this? Again, we're going to start out with two sets of parentheses. All right, now how do I make x squared? X and x. Come on, guys. Then you're looking at the factors of 35 that make 12. 5 and 7 is perfect. And then I want them both to be what? Negative. Remember, that's when you're doing your smiley face. 5x and 7x makes 12x, right? But I want it to be negative 12x, so that means they're both what? They're both negative. All right, so now to solve it, you were told to set the factors equal to 0. So x minus 5 equals 0, x minus 7 equals 0. So x is equal to 5, or x is equal to what? 7. Anybody have any questions with that? All right, not a big deal. I told you. Number 3, factor that real quick. Let's go. What are we looking at here? X and X. Thank you very much. Then we're just looking at the factors of 40. What are the factors of 40 that can make 3? 8 and 5 is good. All right. Now here, how much do I have? And here I have what? And altogether I want 3x. Do we agree? Very nice. Negative 5, positive 8. And now again, you just set the factors equal to 0. X plus 8 equals 0. X minus 5 equals 0. So x is equal to what? Negative 8 or x equals 5. Those are your two solutions. So basically what that means, just to review this information, just to make sure you're understanding, if I were to take negative 8 and plug it in for x here and x here, what would I equal? 0. If I plug 5 in for x, what am I going to equal? 0. That's it. All right. So now number 5, it's getting a little bit harder because of the coefficient. All right, it's not a 1 anymore. But this one's kind of easy. So the only way to make 5x squared is with what? 5x and x. Now, does anybody recognize I'm trying to make 11, right? And I have a 6 and a 5. Well, what do I want you to recognize? 6 and 5 make what? 11, right? So I don't want to break it down into 2 and 3. All right, I want to break it down to 6 and 1. But where does the 6 have to go, though? Let's say we put the 6 over here. Now what's this? 30. So that's not going to work, right? So where do I want the 6 to go? Yeah, with the 5. And then on the right side, there's a what? A 1. Come on now, I know this is bringing back great memories. So this right here is how much? And this is how much? And 6x and 5x makes 11x, but I want it to be negative 11x. So they're what? They're both what? They're both negative. Anybody have a problem with that? And so now we just say 5x minus 6 equals 0, x minus 1 equals 0. And now we solve this out. 5x equals 6, x equals 6/5, and x equals 1. All right, let me give you a second for number 7. See if you can fact that one by yourself now. All right, so you need two sets of parentheses. The only way to make 5x squared is with what? 5x and x. I'm trying to get to 41. Eight to the right and 1 to the left. Because 5 times 8 is what? 40. 1 times x is 1. 40 plus 1 is what? 41. So they're both going to be what? Positive. Come on, that wasn't that hard. Now, from there, you set them equal to 0. 5x plus 1 equals 0. X plus 8 equals 0. That's exactly correct. Anybody have any questions with that? Anybody? Easy. All right, now what we're doing is reviewing solving by taking the square root. This is a quadratic. Now, listen, everybody needs to understand, you're going to solve by taking the square root when there is no x term. When there's no x term. There's just a square term. That's it. All right. So now watch what we can do. Add 9 to both sides. 9x squared equals what? 9. Now, what can I do to both sides? So x squared is equal to what? 1. Now I take the what? Square root. What's the square root of 1? But how many solutions are there? 2. You have to remember there are 2 solutions. So the answer is plus or minus what? 1. If we square 1, we get 1. If we square negative 1, we get 1. Anybody have any issue with that? All right, let's knock out number 11. What do I have to do first? Add the 6. 4x squared equals 400. Now what? Divide by 4. X squared is equal to 100. Now what? Take the square root. Exactly. So x is equal to what? Plus or minus 10. Perfect. Anybody? All right, continuing with 13. What do I do? Minus 4. 2x squared equals what? 20. Now what? Divide by 2. X squared equals what? 10. Take the square root. Can 10 be broken down? No. So x is equal to, help me, plus or minus square root 10. That's all there is to it. All right, now in a minute, if the alarm goes off, all right, just relax. All right, they're doing this thing right here. All right, so I've got to just lock the door. We're just going to sit and continue to work. All right, I'm going to close the blinds. Everybody else just continue to work. All right, no messing around. All right, it should be going off here in like 3 minutes. All right, here we go. Number 15, what do I have to do? Minus 4. 5x squared equals 120. Now what? Divide by 5. X squared equals 24. Now what? Take the square root. Can 24 be broken down? Yes, so that's going to be plus or minus what? Very good. Plus or minus 2 radical 6. Remember, for those of you guys who forgot, 24 is 4 times 6. Square root of 4 is what? 2. And the 6 is left behind. All right. I told you, very simple. Very simple. All right. This is the easy one. All right. Now over here, I just have to move things around, correct? So I have to subtract x squared, subtract x squared, subtract 4, subtract 4. What's 2x squared minus x squared? What's 2x squared minus 1x squared? Think for yourself. 2 minus 1. 1 what? 1x squared equals, what's 84 minus 4? 80. Now I do what to both sides? Right, so now x is equal to plus or minus. Does anybody remember what 80 broke down to? Definitely not 10 and 8. 20 and 4 is good, but there's a better one. What else? Yeah, I'd like for you to remember it's 16 and 5. All right, so then it becomes what? 4. Right, x equals plus or minus 4 radical 5. All right, here we go. Let's take a look at minus x squared, minus x squared, minus 36, minus 36. So 7x squared minus x squared is what? 6x squared equals, yeah, 84 minus 36. That's a hard one. Somebody said 48. Now what? So x squared equals 8. Now I do what to both sides? All right, so let's see if we can break down the square root of 8. What is the square root of 8? Almost correct. Plus or minus 2 radical 2. All right, I've gone through most of it now. Anybody have any questions still? Anybody? All right, next page. Little bit harder. Little bit harder. All right. What do I need to do first? Add 6. That is correct. So everybody's going to write down x plus 5 squared equals what? 49. Now what do I need to do? Take the square root. That is correct. So x plus 5 equals, what's the square root of 49? Nope. What is it? Plus or minus 7. Everybody needs to do that, please. Plus or minus 7. Now I move the 5 over. When I move the 5 over, it becomes what? Well, no, don't say that. Move the 5 over. X equals -5 plus or minus 7. I would like everyone to write -5 plus or minus 7. Now I'm going to show you how you handle this so you can tell me what the answers are. So everybody take a look at this now. Make sure you're with me. -5 plus 7. What's -5 plus 7? 2. Then you're going to do -5 minus 7. What's -5 minus 7? There you go. Those are your two answers. All right. -5 plus or minus 7 is the same as 2 and -12. -5 plus 7 and -5 minus 7. All right, so 23, what do I have to do first? Subtract 3. X minus 4 squared equals what? 5. Now what? X minus 4. Someone tell me equals plus or minus radical 5. Very good. Now what do I do with the -4? Move it over. When I move it over, it becomes x equals 4. And there's nothing you can do with that. That is the answer. All right, that is the answer. Not bad.
So the 4 is, so what would the 4 do in that case? Is it the coefficient?
No, 4 is called a rational, and this is called an irrational. And you can't add a rational and an irrational together. On the ones above that, that was a very good question, by the way. This up here is rational and this is rational, so I can add them together. You with me? Irrational, rational, you cannot add together. All right, so everybody's telling me what do I do first? Subtract 8. So x plus 7 squared equals how much? 24. Now what do I do to both sides? Take the square root. So x plus 7 equals plus or minus 2 radical 6. Good job, girl. And then from there, move the 7 over. When I move the 7, it becomes what? Yeah, guys, that's all. Right? Nothing to it. All right, now honestly, 27 is the hardest it can get. All right, 27 is the hardest it can get. So if you understand 27, it's really simple. All right, so here we go. What do I have to do first? Subtract 1. So now I have 3x minus 2 squared equals what? 72. Now I have to do what to both sides? Take the square root of both sides. Now I know it's been a while. Who remembers what the square root of 72 breaks down to? 9 and 8 is okay, but there's a better one. Thank you very much. 36 and 2. All right. What's the square root of 36? So it's plus or minus 6 radical 2. Now from there, I do what to both sides? Add 2. So I have 3x is equal to 2 plus or minus 6 radical 2. Now from there, I do what? Divide by 3. So x is equal to 2 plus or minus 6 radical 2 over 3. Can I divide the 6 and the 3? No, you cannot divide through addition and subtraction. You cannot divide through addition and subtraction. All right, here we go. 29. Last one for me. First thing I need to do is do what to both sides? Subtract 4, 6x plus 3. Squared equals 1. Now what do I do to both sides? Take the square root. So 6x plus 3 equals plus or minus 1. Thank you. Now what do I do with the 3? Subtract it. 6x equals negative 3 plus or minus 1. And now what? Dividing by 6. So x is equal to negative 3 plus or minus 1 divided by 6. Now, here's where I want to help. Everybody's looking. X equals. First thing we're going to do is negative 3 plus 1. What is negative 3 plus 1? Negative 2 over 6. What's that? Negative 1/3. Then we're going to do negative 3 minus 1. What's negative 3 minus 1? Negative 4 over 6 reduces to what? Yeah, easy. Negative 2/3. Anybody have any questions with that? Yes. You should write it like that. You with me? I don't, it's, in my opinion, it's harder to do plus or minus 1 minus 3. To me, it makes better sense if you say negative 3 plus or minus 1. All right. It wouldn't make a difference though, honestly. All right. Now that is everything. Come on, look, see what I'm saying? I'm not trying to burden you. I'm not trying to be a pain. There's 30 problems. I did 15. Your homework is now 15 problems. You turn it in tomorrow. I take a look at it. It should all be done. All right, I don't even mind if you sit and work with each other quietly.
I.